Welcome back to our Yellows Raucous episode 26. Coming up this week, we are, of course, talking about the Stoke City game. What did we learn from the Bet365? We're getting thoughts on Ole Romany's debut. Should he have scored? Liam Manning is back this weekend at the Kassam. We'll get our plastic snakes ready for that. Transfer window is going to close before that. What's going to happen? And we're choosing our worst ever back four that have ever played in the famous yellow shirt. Conor and Sam are back with us. Thank you very much for joining us. Do drop a subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Right, Conor, Stoke 0, Oxford 0. The scoreline doesn't reflect the performance. Our Stoke fans said Oxford were the better team. Were they?
I honestly, my takeaway from the game was that the first half was a game in which there were two poorish sides. I don't think really much was created in the first half by either, but then come the second half, we had the better chances and we should have taken them. I think that Tom Bradshaw can tell whether it was Bradshaw or Rodriguez, had a very good chance, but I put that down to a very good save by the goalkeeper. And then I'm sure that at some point will come on to Romney's chance, but I want to have a little discussion about that because that was a lot more of a harder chance than people thought. I think we had the better chances come the game. And to be honest, I couldn't really see Stoke scoring because their front line is made up of two teenagers and a 20-year-old. So, you know, that's more Stoke's problems at the moment. It's just a shame we couldn't capitalise. But at the end of the day, I think that it was a very valuable point that we can take away from home.
Yeah. And the unbeaten run continues, Sam. I mean, who'd have thought this? What is it? What's the talk on the terraces about Rowett? You are muted before you answer, by the way. How far can he take you?
Well, there's a lot of jokes about playoffs. I think it's fair to say, we're focused on survival. But no, it's really interesting. Rowett, we've talked previously, Mark, that my big concern with Rowett coming in was going to be, if you look at how he played at previous clubs, obviously most significantly Millwall, it was very, it was quite negative football. Yeah. And a lot of Millwall fans are saying, be prepared to be bored for 90 minutes. But I watched a little bit of his kind of the latter tenure at Birmingham, obviously last season, which was obviously, by that point they were dead and buried pretty much. But I've been really, really glad to see that he's, taken the identity of this football club, that we play good forward-thinking attacking football, and he's just added one or two slight defensive tweaks so we look better in the defensive third. But for the most part, we're putting some really lovely moves together. The one that leads to Bradshaw's chance being saved in the second half is a beautiful bit of 1 and 2 touch football from the left-hand side of the midfield area. It's brilliant. I disagree with Conor. I think we were certainly better in the first half, I think. Obviously, especially towards the end where it's sort of flurry of late chances. I thought Stoke were ever so slightly the better side in the second half. For a lot of that period, they were sat in our final third, winning a lot of set pieces. Admittedly, they weren't able to benefit out of, but that's, like Conor said, just due to the lack of quality up front. I think they'd be crying out for a certain man that was stood in the terraces for them.
Absolutely. Let's talk about one player there in particular. We've already mentioned him. Full debut for Romney. Okay, take away his chance. We'll get to that in a minute. Conor, how did he do overall for you?
I thought he put in a decent shift. I thought it was a very admirable performance. I thought that it was about a 6 or 7, if we were going by rating, 6 or 7 performance. He came in, he did his job. Rowett clearly told him what you expected of him, and I don't think that anybody can really go away at the moment and say that what an absolute waste of money it is, because it's only been one game and we haven't really seen him. But leading to, as you said, we'll come on to a minute, before we get to the opportunity that he had, the acumen that he had to go on to the stray pass and be able to press the Stoke goalkeeper as he did, shows hopefully the work rate that we can see from him. And yes, it's a lot of money for a club the size of ours, but I think that in the end, if he carries on doing that, he'll not only will he become a fan's favourite, he will also show that the work that he put in will be next to none, next to the work that Bradshaw did on Saturday, which I was thoroughly impressed with.
Okay. All right, let's talk about that chance then, shall we, between you. Sam, let's clear it up then. There's no foul on the goalkeeper, is there?
So, still in that away end, I did think we've gotten a bit lucky there. Because it looked like from the corner where we were all put in that he had there was a little shove on the back of the goalkeeper, and he nicked the ball. But it's just it's just the fact that keeper's gone to lean to his left. He's completely screwed it up, and Romney's taken the ball. And it's another thing that as Conor said, it's a lot more difficult of a chance than it looked. Certainly, in the away end, it seemed like he, was kind of at a decent angle. We could have just curled it around the near post, but it's actually, when you watch it back, it's such a tight angle, and he puts a bit of elevation on it. I can see why he's done that, because there is a little bit of pressure coming from a very, very panicking Stoke defence. But it's one of those things. I will say, and this is purely because of the size of the fee, and we know the increase in social media attention that we've got from the Indonesian market. That anytime Marcelino or now Ole Romeny play, it's like I say, it's not their fault. They've become a little bit of a joke in the sense that here comes the two Indonesian lads. Let's kind of see what those social media followers do. But to be fair to the lad, he came on, he looked good. And like Conor said, it's an enormous fee that is hanging over his head. But, it was some bright start for him. And hopefully he's going to be able to carry that on for the rest of his Oxford career.
Conor, any disagreement with anything that Sam said there about that chance?
No, not really. From the angle is incredibly tight, and as Sam said, like the only way that he was probably going to get in was if he lofted it over, which he tried to do, and ever so near. And some people saying he should have pulled it back, but then you don't know, like if it was either going to make the pass or if a Stoke player was going to clear it. So let's be honest, if it was any of us in that situation, we're going for it.
Yeah, we can't blame it. And margins, fine margins, isn't it? Right, let's leave the Stoke game aside then, shall we? Let's talk about the next one. And this is the one which some Oxford fans will have been looking at in June, just saying, when's this fixture coming? And here it is. That's a stupid question, shall we? What sort of reception, Sam, will Mr. Manning get as he trots up to the away dugout this weekend?
I think it's going to really depend. I know for a fact that in the East Stand, there are going to be a lot of us that are not going to give him any kind of nice reception, because the manner he left. We've been over this before, but I think there are going to be sections of the support base that just are looking at the year this guy has had. Looking at the things that have happened in his personal life, that it's it would be tricky for anybody to kind of continue doing their job to the level that's required for managers at this higher level to do. And yet it's obviously there are going to be a lot of us, and I think myself included, that we'll never be able to forgive. None of us will ever be 100% content with the way Mark Sykes left. And so on and so forth. So there's always going to be sections, but I think it's going to be a lot cooler of a reaction than it was going to be when the fixture was first announced.
Okay. Conor?
Yeah, I think the pantomime period with Manning is over. As Sam said, it's a very, very sore and sensitive subject, and it's going to be a sensitive and sore subject for the rest of Manning's life. What happened in his previous life? If that tragedy didn't happen, then I think that it would have been a lot more of a hostile reception. But I think that our fan base, especially over Twitter after that game, said, right, that's it, it's over. We've made our feelings well known at Ashton Gate, and if he'd have lost that game, I think that he more likely would have lost his job after that game.
Yeah, you were winning at half time, weren't you? Yeah.
If Harris put that away, then I think that could have been good night. But I to think that the Oxford fan base now, because of what's happened, and we've had our say, made our feelings known, that the best thing to do is just say nothing and not direct anything to him whatsoever, because this should put in personal grievances beside, this is a game, dare I say it, where we should be looking at thinking that we can pick up at least a point, because Bristol City's away form is not great at the moment whatsoever. So I hope that on Saturday the football is put into focus a lot more than a past employee of the club.
Yeah, well said. Our Bristol City fans aren't looking forward to this one. Their away, as you said, their away form is shocking. Haven't won, I think, since last November. This is the last place they want to go to. Should be an interesting one Saturday on Sky as well, isn't it? We get to watch this one, so we'll be tuning in for that. Thank you very much. And before that happens, though, the transfer window, Sam, closes for all 24 teams. Let's have a quick look at the business end so far. This is up to the end of Friday, so it doesn't include anything that's happened over the weekend or time of recording. What do you expect to happen? Anything more? And if it doesn't, would you be satisfied with what's gone on?
So we know that the club are in the market for another wide man. Obviously, we were in the race for Ryan Longman, but he chose to go to Wrexham. It's evident that the club are looking at that, and I think that deal definitely spells the end, unfortunately, as much as I love him, especially the end of Carl Edwards' Oxford career. Quite possibly Owen Dale's, though he is still out with a minor knock, so whether he's going to be healthy in time to kind of have a medical prospective club. I think overall this has been a needed window for this football club. Obviously, most importantly, on the defensive side of things, Mikhail Helik is a fantastic addition. It's incredible the way he started, and we're genuinely in a situation where, with that partnership of Kieran Brown and Mikhail Helik, Elliot Moore at the minute is going to struggle to get back into this back two. Bradshaw, although I was slightly underwhelmed by him, I think, I understand the experience of what he brings. Matos is looking like a really decent loan signing. And obviously Ole Romeny, obviously we've only seen a small amount of him, so we'll have to wait and see. And then, in terms of the players that have gone out on loan, Goodwin is a much needed loan. Negger, a little bit weird the way he kind of was brought back from Salford and then sent straight back out. But I presume that's because the club couldn't get the League One loan they wanted. But overall, it's been a very productive window, I think, and certainly sets us, along with the great form, sets us up for a good kind of second half of the campaign.
Absolutely. Conor, you agree with that? I see you nodding along.
Yeah, agree to everything to that. I've got nothing else to add. Though I'm not sure if the club is still looking around for another holding midfielder. I'm not sure how much those rumours are about the lads. The Bosnian lad in Ajax was actually substantial, but I'm sure that, as Sam said, definitely in for a wide man and maybe another holding midfielder, which would obviously, if we did, I think that someone like McEachran would also be maybe moved out, as well as I also think that Owen Dale will be going as well, as much as I love the guy.
Okay. Thank you very much, both of you, for that. Let us know in the comments what you think the priorities certainly should be in the next 4 days or so. Cheers, fellas. And before we let you go this week and think about Bristol City, we will, of course, be concluding very soon our trawl through the worst ever Oxford United 11. So far, we've done goalkeepers, and last week we did strikers. So we're now looking, of course, at the back four. So I'll let you guys discuss and take it away. Left back, right back, and two centre backs, if you can. Who's the worst you've ever seen?
Right, Sam. At centre half, I'm going to nominate Joe Grayson.
Right.
He was brought in by Carl Robinson in 2021. I think he only played about 5 games or so. The one game I distinctly remember was in the EFL Trophy semi-final against Tranmere, and he just had an absolute mare. He was about 5'7", 5'8", and that's about my height. And he was about the same build as me. And if you saw, we've seen each other in person, Sam, you know that I'm not cut out to play centre half. That was the exact same. He got ran ragged for those 4 or 5 games, and now I believe at this moment he's playing at Gateshead. Although Gateshead are doing very well in the National League, I think he's found his level. And at fullback, I'm going to nominate Ashley Smith-Brown, who was on loan from Man City in the 2017-18 season. He was brought in by Pep Clotet, and again, he only played about 8 or 9 games, and he didn't set the world on fire whatsoever. And as soon as we brought in someone like Dwight Tindale, he took his space right away, and he was never to be seen again. And as far as I'm aware now, his last club was Spennymoor Town, and he doesn't have a club and has been out of the game for the past 2 years.
Okay. Some good shouts.
That Ashley Smith-Brown that was gutting them on, wasn't it? Because he came in with such a reputation at City youth level. So my memory is awful. So I had to go back to the 22-23 campaign and to kind of find, because I was really struggling at some points. Other centre back, I'll go a lad that we've chased for such a long time. We finally got him in. He lasted 1 season and has had 2 back-to-back loan spells. Stuart Finley. What an embarrassment of a transfer that was for this football club. Robinson had chased him for ages, gave him a very long contract when he finally got him in, and was not good. I remember distinctly him getting run ragged by Accrington on the final day of the campaign in 22-23 when they'd already been relegated in that embarrassment. Stuart Finley for me. And then I was struggling because, again, in that team we had one loanee fullback that came in January. I thought was actually quite good, but I think the universal thought from the fan base was pretty useless. That was Brandon Fleming. That was too short to play left back. Though I thought in the attacking phase it looked quite good. So I've gone for the other right back spot, who might be a little bit out of position then, is Javan Anderson. Brought in from Napoli, and we were going, he's coming from Napoli. He's had some okay time in the Eredivisie, but the first thing was obviously he was more of a winger that then Robbo decided to make as a right back, and he was very much of that trends you see in someone like, I'm not comparing him to him, but a similar mold to someone like a Yemi Frimpong, where he's incredibly quick and he's better in the attacking phase and utterly useless, bit of a liability at right back when the defensive side of the game needed to come out. So I'll throw those two and then.
Brilliant. Some names in there, crikey. This team is stinking. You put it all together. Next week we finish it off and do the midfielders. So join us for that, and of course next week we'll review how the Bristol City game has gone. Enjoy it. Be kind. I'm sure you will. We'll see you in 7 days' time to review, or drop us a subscribe if you don't yet done so. Thanks, Conor. Thanks, Sam. Have a good